Hey, welcome to the Dino and Joe Show. My name is Dino. That person over there, his name is Joe.
Good tidings to you, sir.
Thank you. Good tidings to you as well.
Great.
Uh, start off the show. I think there's something we should talk about, just in the sense of like the national news, the impact, the fact that we do have listeners in the UK,
Mhm.
and they are going through one of the most interesting times, a very sad time.
Yeah.
But the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Uh, I can't say it was a surprise. I know that there has been a lot of pulling her back from
Right.
duties. I felt like there was hints that maybe something wasn't well,
Right.
and I think it translated into obviously the events of her passing. And it's been very interesting to see where that goes now, right? Like as a kid growing up, I always heard, well, Charles will never be king because
Right.
she's never gonna pass, and she's never going to, he's never gonna get that opportunity. And we all kind of knew that was the running joke, right? Because she was the longest serving monarch of all time.
Right.
And now it has come to pass, and it's interesting, right? There's all kinds of feelings from all around the globe, of whether they are behind monarchy, whether they're not. But I was interested to get your thoughts, like as you saw all of the events, right? Like what were your reactions? What were your thoughts?
Well, it was funny because I was in the middle of a call with a customer, and all of a sudden my phone started blowing up, and my parents, Tiff, a bunch of different people said, the Queen passed away. And I'm like, oh man, that's sad. It's unfortunate. So, I have a TV next to my desk, and I turned it on, and it was surprising because I think most of us who are probably listening to this, and most of our parents,
Hmm.
maybe even some of our grandparents, only knew
Yeah,
Elizabeth II
sure,
as reigning monarch.
right.
That's a long time.
Oh,
That's
sure.
an
70
incredibly
some
long time.
years. She lived
Yeah.
to be in her 90s. Like,
96 years old, I
yeah,
believe she passed away. So like that's incredible. And I mean it's just crazy to think about, right? Obviously King Charles now, King Charles III. Um and a lot of people say, I don't care, the Queen, the Commonwealth, I don't like the royal family. That's fine if you don't like the royal family, but I think the important thing to remember is somebody still lost their mother, their
yes,
grandmother,
yes,
an aunt, whatever. You know what I mean? So in
yep,
that case, I do care. I think that's very sad, and I hate seeing people upset by that, and I feel so bad for them in the sense that they have to grieve publicly, like
right,
right, like
right.
there's really no privacy to that. Like everything is on the front page. So that part
Yeah.
is probably pretty tough, but
I equate it to Kennedy, right? When Kennedy passed, I think that the Kennedy family grieving was very public, right? We still have those images in our own history of what that was, and you don't necessarily have that for, like, say, Ronald Reagan, who
right,
passed, right?
right,
That was private and very private compared to Kennedy, which obviously, yes, assassination, it's instantly news, but that family had such dynamics behind it that people felt connected, and it was very public, right? And I think that the thing to remember too, I I I I struggle with the politics, right? Because people are dropping all the politics of
right,
what they thought, and it's like, and I agree with you, like, yeah, that's somebody's mom, that's somebody's wife, that's somebody's sister, that's somebody's daughter. Like, let's just have the human moment that somebody passed, who, by the way, did things that nobody expected, modernized a
100%.
monarchy that was probably very out of touch. And we've had insights, like the crown is very big in my
Mhm.
household. My wife, is very much a royal follower, and very into like all the documentaries, all the
Yeah,
shows, right? Um, but again, in the UK, that's a beloved figure. That is, and it's okay for us to not understand why they have the attraction to monarchy, but they do. And they feel that that's still something that symbolizes them, and it's tradition in their country, and it's something that's important to them, and that's okay because it's for them. It's not for us, right? We fought a revolution against a king for a reason, and but we can't put our politics on other people. I hate when people are like, "Whoa, why do they still have it?" You
right,
know what? They do,
right. It's it's
because
their
they
thing,
do.
whatever.
Right. And when we visited, we went to Buckingham Palace, right? We did the
Sure.
tour, right? And it's amazing to see. whatever your personal feelings are on it, like it's amazing to see things like I never thought of, like changing all the post boxes because they have her initials
It's
on them, right?
ER. Yep.
And changing to be, what Charles, I don't remember what his my wife could tell me, but I have no idea what his royal name is going to be. I can't remember, but
It's
it's
still Charles III.
oh, is it? I
Yep.
thought there was
King
a
Charles
Rex
III.
or something in there that meant king in Latin or something.
Oh,
I don't know. Again, I'm not as well versed.
sure.
But I also really interested in the pageantry, right? The tradition, the process of the change. I had no idea that it took all of that, right? And I think the closest thing that we maybe have seen in our lifetime is the Pope, right? The
Yes.
changing of the Pope has been a major event. We've seen it several times in our lifetime. And the pageantry that goes on with that, the extreme, right, traditional rites and rituals that follow that, whether you're Catholic or not, I find very
It's
interesting.
super interesting. Agreed.
And very interesting to see how they do it, right? And we all wait for the smoke, right, from the Sistine Chapel, and you don't know where the actual pipe goes that actually,
Right.
like if you see the top of the Sistine Chapel, you can't, there's no hole. Like it's
Right.
not like, oh, they put it there
But
and they won't tell you. Like it's a mystery. Um but yeah, I think that it's very interesting to see all of that goes on. And it's been, I think, learning because we've not seen it. We've not had that, right? We've not had those moments. We've just seen the abdication documentaries and like things like The Crown, which kind of show you how it
right.
happens, right? But then you go, is that real? How real is it? Is it as close to real as possible? Or the things that they're guessing happen because we're not necessarily there? But yeah, really interesting time in our lives to see that kind of change, and then we'll probably see it again in our lives.
Right. After having not had it since
Right,
1953 or 54, whenever she was coronated, or whenever she had her coronation till
right,
now, it's kind of crazy. But to your point, changing all the mailboxes from ER to CR, the
right,
money,
right. Yeah,
all the money will have to
absolutely.
get changed. And I think now, I again, I don't know this, so don't comment me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the few, if not the only, uh, national anthems that will change lyrics based on
Yes,
king or queen. So it
right.
was "God Save the Queen" for the longest time. Now it's "God Save the King."
Which is still weird to hear.
It is.
I've
It's
heard it a
weird
couple
enough to
times,
hear
and you automatically think in your head
it's
Queen. You
Queen
don't
because
like
it's been 70 years.
right, right. It's just incredible to see the amount of change, and then I think also to understand that the people are going through all of that change in their normal everyday lives. They've always had that reassurance. She even spoke when COVID hit, right? And she came out and gave the address around we'll see each other again, right? Um, they still, when they elect a prime minister, they still have to go and present themselves to the queen, and she still asks them to form a government in her name.
Yep.
Like, we don't have that, right? And so it's easy for us to put our politics on it to say, why is that needed? But
Right.
it still is a part of their tradition and culture, and it's interesting to me that is all changing.
One of the coolest facts that I will share with you about whomever the queen, the king is, whomever, they don't have to have a passport
Oh, I didn't know
because
that.
all British passports are from them, are in their name.
Oh,
So
really?
the King Charles now does not need a passport because
But did he need a passport before?
he did, because he was not the sovereign.
Do they just rip it up? Do they
Apparently,
shred it?
they shred it. They're like, all right, this is no
All right.
longer needed. Take care of it. Yeah,
Wow. I know I
because
didn't.
all passports are issued in her name, so she doesn't need a passport.
Yeah, it's hard to think of that kind of power and that kind of autonomy, right? I mean, when you go to the Tower of London and you see the crown jewels, for example, right? And they're incredible. But then to see them wearing that crown is and that's, I'm like, oh, I've seen that behind glass.
Right.
I'm
Behind
guessing it
glass.
was the right one, I
Yep.
mean, not like a duplicate fake thing. Like
It might be. You never
it
know.
might be, you never know,
Um,
right?
I've seen on TikTok and all these different places different videos of the queen being her rambunctious self, right?
Yes.
Because, for instance, one of my favorite ones that you just talked about with the crown jewels, she was being interviewed about the crown,
Yeah.
and they were talking about it and saying, "Oh, this is this, that, and the other." And the person doing the interview spoke to one of the handlers who handles the crown and said, "Would you mind moving that a bit closer to the queen?" And the person came in and moved it a few inches, wearing white gloves, like
Yeah.
delicately moving it.
Yeah.
And then she just comes in, two hands, and rips it towards her, and she's like, "I want it this way." And I'm like, "Good for you. That's yours. You wear that
Hers.
whenever you want.
Right.
What
She
is somebody
can
gonna
wear
yell at you? You're
she
the
can wear it
queen."
around the house. Like, I mean,
Right.
she,
That's
I would. I'll just be honest with
oh
you. I
yeah.
would. I would wear
Just
it.
on
I
your
just
podcast, we'd be wearing it today. Just
oh,
going,
absolutely. I would have it on. I would wear that every chance I could just because it would be fun and it
it
would drive my wife crazy.
it made me think of one of my favorite movies from the 90s. If you have not seen it, go see it, King Ralph. You ever seen it?
I have not seen that.
Oh my God, John Goodman. He played Lawrence of Arabia. I can't think of his name. Um, oh,
The original Lawrence of
yes,
Arabia?
the original. Um,
Oh man, now you've did it to me.
Hold
I
on.
just had his name in my head too. Omar Sharif.
Uh, Peter O'Toole.
Peter, what? What?
Peter
Wait,
O'Toole played
what?
Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah.
No.
Yes, he did. I'm looking at it right here.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Omar
Okay.
Sharif was in there. I
Okay. Maybe
agree
that's
with you
something.
100%. But it's Peter O'Toole. So
All
it's
right.
him.
Oh,
Essentially, the monarch passes away,
yeah.
and there is no living. Or I'm sorry, no, I remember. All of the
Thank
monarch's
God.
family were at a photo shoot. Right?
Yeah.
They're at a big photo shoot,
Okay.
but apparently there's a faulty wire. They're standing on bleachers that have water, and they all get electrocuted and die. And so there is no immediate descendant available to ascend to the throne. So
Okay.
they look through all these different things and they find out this American who's a lounge singer in Vegas, who's like the most American that's ever been American, gets to raise to the
Oh
British
no.
throne. And it's funny and it's stupid. It's not a great movie, but it's one
Yeah,
of those
of
movies you
course.
just enjoy from like 1995.
Right.
Go watch it if you haven't. It's pretty good.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. But
You will.
I'm gonna guess it's not an Oscar winner.
No, you're not gonna walk away thinking, "Wow,
Yeah.
that was a piece of cinema that I couldn't have gone without watching."
Right.
You're gonna watch it and be like, "Huh, that was kind of dumb, but I enjoyed it." That's what
Okay.
you're gonna say.
Gotcha.
Probably, maybe not. I don't
Maybe
know.
not. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
take the recommendation. I can't make you watch
I'll
it.
take it for what it's worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but I will tell you, there was one image that got me.
Okay.
There was one image that got me, and that was the image of the dogs
Oh, right.
waiting for the
Just
queen. Like, holy cow! Because those dogs were her life, and
yeah.
they're everywhere with her, right? And we kind of associate those corgis with her. That was a powerful picture, and think that there's powerful images in time, and I think that's one of them that will be there, right? So yeah, very, 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 very powerful imagery. Whoever took that picture, it's probably an award-winning picture, in all honesty. And I think really poignant for the moment, which is incredible. Like to me, like I think that there's those photographers that capture a moment, and that would be one that for me definitely did. But so Charles has to have a coronation to be king, and so that's
No.
still to come,
Well,
or they made him king, but he still has to have a coronation. I don't know how this
I
works.
think as soon as the queen passed away, he became king just by bloodline.
Okay,
But I think the coronation is what like makes it like official. But
gotcha.
he has the orb and the scepter, and he
Right,
says, "I will, you know, defend the Commonwealth and things
right.
like that." I think it's more of the pageantry, so everybody can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
he is like the one true king.
And then does he have to do a tour of the Commonwealth again?
I would imagine. Why not?
That would be interesting. Yeah, he likes people though, so it's interesting to hear that he loves to talk to people and he's very
Yeah.
outgoing. And it'll be interesting to see what he does with a monarchy now, because he has always had different ideas from what we understand of what tradition should look like today. And then looking at his sons, right? Like there's a whole mess of different thoughts on tradition. So, yeah, as someone who's not necessarily a big monarchy watcher, I think that it will be interesting to see how it plays out. And I think
Will
it's
be.
something that now I'm a little bit more interested in because I think it's a different for
It's
for
evolving.
yes, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how it stays relevant and evolves into that. So, But yeah, a very big moment in our history of the world, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out as it goes forward. So, with that, we'll take a break. It's the Dino and Joe Show. Hey, welcome back to the Dino and Joe Show. That is Joe, and my name is Dino.
Threw me off there. That's different
I know
intro.
I did it backwards
I
on
was like, oh my
purpose.
god, what's happening
Let's
here?
do something new. It's season two. Let's just,
It
new
is
sets, new
new everything,
design. Yeah.
new everything.
But same old Joe,
That's always. I can't change.
except you are evolving.
How?
Well, I love decorations for
Of
holidays, and there's specific
course.
holidays that I decorate for. We all know Christmas. Christmas is like the big one. My neighbors have no idea what's coming in this new house. And I've warned some of them that I hope they like Christmas decorations
Okay.
because I have a lot of them lights and inflatables, and I don't have a big enough front yard for my inflatables. I've realized
Okay.
that as I'm thinking, and all my other lawn ornaments. So that'll be fun. But the other one I love is Halloween. I love to decorate for Halloween.
Yeah.
And from what I know, I have converted you over to the dark side.
Absolutely. Like, it's because we live in an apartment,
Yes.
and I've always used that as kind of the excuse to say, well, we can't put stuff up because we live in an apartment.
Right.
Like, sure, we could decorate inside, but whatever. Well, Tiff definitely is in the Halloween mood. She loves. I think that's probably if it's probably her favorite holiday is Halloween, and she's gotten into it, and we've definitely gotten into it. We've put Halloween themed solar lights leading the walkway up to the apartment.
Yes.
We have the little garden flags that say like Happy Halloween, boo, all that kind of stuff. We just bought a whole bunch of stuff like bats to put on our sliding glass window.
Yeah.
I was a fan. We went to Menards and they had this really cool like old fashioned 50s tube TV. It's a small little thing, but
Right.
it basically is like a little snow globe that's like yellow and eerie and it's got like a
Right.
witch riding it and we put that. Yeah, so yes, we're definitely getting into it for sure.
I remember when I said to my wife, "Hey, I would like to decorate the house for Halloween." And she was like, "Yeah, go
Yeah,
for it, right?" Cuz she
sure.
thought I was going to do like what you just said. And then what I did was I went out and got the plans to build my own tombstones,
There it is. Okay.
which by the way, you can go to either Lowe's or Home Depot and get the single sheets of insulation.
Mhm.
And there are plans online that you can get to map out for tombstones. Now I've seen a new one, which I'm so excited to try because you can build like this whole like monolith, like mausoleum type monolith
That's
thing out of
awesome.
those. Awesome. And then I took the tombstones, and because I love the haunted house themes at like amusement parks, and
Yeah.
Disney does a great job, Kings Island does a great job, where the tombstones have funny sayings.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
you can go online and find real epitaphs on tombstones that are actually real, that are humorous, right? And so I went out and got those and actually then carved those into the front of the
Of
tombstone,
course you
right?
did.
And then I painted, and it's really cool. Is like there's a glue that you have to get that won't dissolve styrofoam because you can't use standard glue, and then you stick the tombstone shapes together, right? And then what I did was I marred like the surface to make them look old, and then I spray painted them. There's a special paint you get, gray, but then I wiped the epitaphs with a brown, and it looked like ran a little bit. And I'm telling you, like these are phenomenal. And yeah, so I created an entire cemetery in my front yard, and I
Okay.
have bones, and I have like one. There's two arms and a head, and you put like loose dirt and you stick the arms in and the head, and it looks like somebody's coming out of the grave. Yeah, so I get pretty involved when it comes to the Halloween decorations. And my wife was like, "Yep, this is the man that I married." Yeah, I have a whole like cemetery fence that I put out. Yeah.
So have you ever entered your house in like a Halloween decoration contest?
No, I have not, but
Would you?
um, if I had the yard I used to have, before, moved to this
Yeah.
house. Like the way different in Seattle where I live now. The yards are not big at all.
Right.
It's if I had the yard I used to have and had all of the stuff that I would like to do, yeah, I probably would. I'd
I
probably
only
win it.
asked. I only. I. It sounds like you would. This is one. This is so. There's two times a year I love driving around seeing decorations. It's
Yeah,
Halloween and Christmas, right?
absolutely.
Because some people do the stuff that I would love to do, but I don't have the patience, budget, or interest, or I not even interest, attention span to be able to do.
Yeah.
And Halloween's one of my favorite because sometimes, so Tiff found on this on a website like all these things in surrounding cities of, you know, go to this. It basically drives it out for you in Google Maps. You can go
Yeah.
to these like 7, 8 different spots, and
Yeah.
some of them actually have live actors when it gets close enough to Halloween.
Oh
Like my
yeah.
family,
Yeah.
they like oh go up to the
Right.
car and do stuff like that, and it's very scary because I don't want to hit this person with my car. But when somebody I don't expect just starts running at my vehicle,
With a
uh,
chainsaw.
I'm gonna hit you with
Yeah.
my car, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's super cool. Some of them are real original. Some of them are a little more, I don't know, traditional but still fun. Some of them are
Right.
just not good. And I'm like, you really entered into this competition just putting up like a one of those things that you stick in your front lawn and it projects
Right.
on your garage.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
was one of them. That's all they did. That was it. And I'm like,
Hey, they made the attempt.
you. It's more than I did at the
They
time, but I
got they
guess.
got you to drive by their house too. So
Well, unfortunately, they didn't say what was going on in each one. It was just
right.
it was giving you addresses. So you're right. But I'm looking forward to doing that this year because it's fun.
So I used to work in haunted houses.
Oh,
So back in my radio days, I would host the haunted house that was sponsored or the one that we had an arrangement with or whatever. And then they would let me dress up and I would go work in the haunted house. And I'd do it for free because
sure.
I loved it. And I will tell you there are some tricks about a haunted house that you should probably know. Uh, so the actors are mic'd to each other and they can hear each other and they know if you say somebody's name in line or if you get somebody. So you always have somebody who works the crowd right
Yeah.
in the front of the line,
Yeah.
and their job is to find out who gets scared easily, right? Because you'll find out right away because they're
Yeah.
dressed in full costume and they come up right behind you, right?
Right.
And you're always listening for a name. And then you cue the actors inside the haunted house that the person who's wearing this, their name is this. And if you've ever been in a haunted house and they know your name, it's because somebody gave away your name in the line outside. And when you personalize the haunted house experience, it becomes more scary for people.
So here's the thing. I have never really been to like a real haunted house. Like
Really?
when I was a child, I went to like the children's haunted houses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's the thing. I do not like to be scared. It's not a
Oh,
fun thing for me.
my wife does not either, but I
I,
love it.
like here's the like I so for instance, there is a haunted house in Joliet, Illinois. It's called Statesville Prison.
Yeah.
It was based off of an old prison that's actually still in
Yep.
that's still around just a few miles away from it.
Sure.
And it's one of the scarier ones apparently. And I don't know, I don't it's I know nothing's going to happen to me, but I do not like jump scares. That's the thing that I hate.
Right.
Is just somebody coming out of nowhere and being like, "Buh." That's just not my favorite thing in the world. I'm not scared that this person with a chainsaw is going to murder me because I
Right.
know that's not real. Like
Right.
that does not scare me. It's just the boo that always gets me.
Well, and the thing too is there are people that are assigned to rooms because they're a character in that room of that theme, right?
Right,
But there are other people that can go from room to room.
right.
And so there's also back doors to everything. And so you can go and scare somebody in one room and then you can go through the back way to go to an adjoining room and catch up with them again, right? So you really can get somebody, especially if you know their name, because you keep revolving that, right? And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've seen some really interesting stuff. My uncle used to build haunted houses, and they did stuff that I don't know that you can get away with today, but like they put like I remember one, it was a stair railing and you had to go up the stairs and the stairs were metal and they put a small voltage electric shock. So every time you grab this generator, it would shock you.
Oh, yeah, I don't think
like,
that's.
like I don't think that's legal
I think
anymore,
that's a bit
Uncle.
of a lawsuit today,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But I mean, like, they had this like big owl on a thing and it would come flying down at you. Like it was amazing some of the stuff that they came up with. But yes, I love working in a haunted house. I love the ability to scare people, but I love going through haunted houses. I love to see what they come up with. I love to see like what the themes are and how they work. And yeah, it's a whole culture thing for me. But yes, I channel some of that into how I decorate my front yard when it comes to Halloween.
I will go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween in Disney World. Like that's all. That is right up my alley.
I have never
Um,
done a theme park Halloween.
so that's our. I think that's our goal next year. This time next year, we want to go to Disneyland in California, take a
Yeah.
road trip out there,
Yeah.
and do the like not so scary stuff.
Are you gonna have a not so scary playlist for that road trip?
Of course, I'm already working on it because it's a year away. That's like a 28-hour drive.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
jeez.
do 2 days worth of music minimum to be able to do that. So I mean that's if I have 200
Oh,
songs and that's 13 hours,
yeah.
I mean exponential. I'm gonna have to put almost 800 songs on there to 1,000 songs to be able to get the 48 hours.
And you're gonna have to theme them all.
All
There's
of
only
them,
so many. There's only this is Halloween, and
and I
then well, the
I
entire Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack would be on
and I can't repeat it.
there. Right.
So there's no repeats.
Holy
Like
cow.
I might have to have Tiff to put in a little work. She did do the last playlist that we had, like the first one, and I was
Yeah.
very in love with it. It was great, and she did a fantastic job. So maybe I'll do the first 28, and she'll do the last 28. We'll see if
You
there's
guys will
any
split the
repeats.
playlist duties.
Split it, yes.
But
But
you got to tell her she's got to start working on it now. Like
well, I mean, I think
you
she
only have
knows.
a year.
She knows. Well, for
She
48
knows.
hours, it's a
She
lot.
knows.
She
She
knows.
knows.
No, but I'm looking forward to that because I've never done a theme park Halloween either. Like in Great America, Six Flags Great America, which is up in
Yeah.
Gurnee, Illinois, right by the Wisconsin border. They have Fright Night, or I think it's called, but they have
Yeah.
like a Halloween
Yeah.
themed
Yeah.
thing there.
Yeah.
I've never been to that, but it looks kind of fun. Same thing with Universal in Florida and Orlando.
Yeah.
They have apparently very scary stuff there sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it looks like terrifying.
I think anytime you put a movie studio involved, it
It's
becomes
gotta be.
another level, right? Like it has to be another level.
Okay, I'll ask you this question. It's not necessarily Halloween related, but it is horror related. What is scarier to you?
Okay.
A psychological horror film
Okay.
or like a, I guess, jump scare horror film?
The jump scare stuff makes me laugh.
Okay.
I don't really get into like it makes me laugh because you can tell those moments when they're gonna happen and then people still get scared and it'll be like the cat jumps out of a cupboard, right? And I
Right.
just
No, of course.
and I laugh because I love the reaction. For me, I like a good psychological thriller. I think those are more tense or give you more of a tense reaction. Like I cannot wait to watch the Jeffrey Dahmer
Yes,
thing that's coming up on Netflix, right? Or I think it just came out or whatever it is,
it did. Yeah.
or it's been out. But um, because to me, like from the scenes I've seen where he locks the guy in, or she asks him like what's in the sandwich, and he's like, "Eat it," right? And you're like, "Oh!" Like to me, that's like the scary thing. Like for me, like oh, we're in this room and it's a tense situation and something pops out of the closet. I'm like, you knew that was gonna happen. Come on, and people go, ah, and I'm like, I start laughing.
What's for you
Yeah.
in your life? What is the scariest movie that you've ever seen?
Um. So this is gonna sound weird. I don't really enjoy scary movies. Um, I did not find Silence of the Lambs scary. Like people are like, "Oh,
That's
that
not
was so
scary.
scary." I'm like, "Really?"
No.
Like I didn't find that even psychologically scary.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. I don't even know. I mean, I I really the one I never saw that I always thought as a kid would scare me. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's called Faces of Fear.
No, I'm
And
writing it down.
the legend of it was, I think, greater than the movie actually was. I don't know if the movie was actually any good. It only came around at Halloween time. It's called Faces of Fear, and it was supposedly, again, I've never seen it, but I always like the radio commercials were like horrifying because it was like people dying, and you would see like them die, and it was like their face of like yeah, it was very bizarre. And like I can see my reaction. Like when I was a kid, I remember those ads, and I was like, man, I think that would actually scare me.
Yeah.
And so like that was like, and I don't know, again, I don't know how much of it was real versus how much of it was just legend of what these movies were. I've never seen one, because as a kid I was like, there's no way I'm ever seeing that. So that would probably be the one thing I would tell you. Like I've seen from Halloween to Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I was never like, oh, I'm frightened by these, right? But
Those,
that
yeah.
idea of that movie like always struck with me as a kid as like something I never wanted to see.
So Halloween never got me.
No,
Exorcist didn't scare me.
nope,
The ones that got me when I was a kid, because I had a doll that looked like it was Chucky, that scared the bejesus out of me, because I had a doll that
yeah,
looked like Chucky. When I after I saw that movie, or it came on or whatever, I punted that little play doll, or
yeah.
play Fisher play whatever thing right out the window, because I'm like, nope.
Well, I
I
will say too, I probably saw the Amityville Horror when I was too young.
mm-hmm.
That was probably the one that got me as a
Yeah,
kid. I saw it
that's
way
fair.
before I probably should have
Yeah.
been allowed to see it. But you know, HBO was a great thing for kids because mom and dad didn't always know what you were
Didn't know.
watching.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably the one I saw that I was probably the most like, you know, I thought Poltergeist was funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Like when the
this
Hulk's riding the
house is
horse.
safe.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I was like, you know,
come on.
what? Like, okay.
So, two things that I'll say to that. One, it turns out a town a little ways away from here actually built houses over a morgue of where the
Oof,
old hospital was.
ooh.
And I'm like, huh? And they're really big, fancy, elaborate mansion type houses. And I'm like,
Well, those are
I would
haunted.
not buy that.
Those are
No matter
haunted.
what. I
Yeah,
would
that's
never, ever,
yeah.
ever, 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 ever. No.
Stuff falls off
Bad,
the walls and gets moved in your house, and
bad
yeah.
juju. No. Two, the movie that to this day freaks me out and I cannot watch it is Hereditary.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Psychological movie, creeps me out too much where I am in
Really?
my own house. Check it out. It's from 2018. It's got
Okay.
Tony Collette and a couple of other people. It freaks me out.
I'll watch it right after I watch The Ring
Yeah.
again.
So I'm not kidding. When I was in high school when that movie came out, and
Yeah.
I went to go see it with my girlfriend and her friends, and I'm like, stupid. Oh, we're gonna die. And then I kept getting calls from unknown numbers saying 7 days, and I'm like, this isn't funny, guys. It's not funny. And I kept getting it, and it freaked me out, and it shouldn't have, but it did, because it was
I
like
love
it
those
was like
people.
7 days. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
oh
the
God.
best.
I was like, what day is it today? Okay, I'm not sure. That's okay. Day number 6, so tomorrow it's gonna happen. That's fine. We'll
Well,
figure
the
it out.
Final Destination taught us anything, and it didn't, but it did teach us that, you know, if you somehow avoid that seventh day, it's not going to matter. They're still going to get you.
I will tell you, I do not drive behind lumber trucks because of Final
My
Destination
wife said
2.
that on a road trip.
I just don't do it.
Absolutely. Yep. Not
Nope.
doing it.
Nope.
Oh, happy Halloween. It's the
Happy
Dino and
Halloween.
Joe show.